Welcome to the Veterans Archives podcast, where we honor our nation's veterans by preserving and sharing their stories. You can also hear Veterans Archives on Wreaths Across America Radio every Thursday at 5 p.m. To learn more about our mission, watch veteran interviews, or find out how to record a veteran story, please visit veteransarchives.org. And if you or a veteran you know needs support or resources, we encourage you to download the Battle Buddy app from vetlifetoday.org. Today is Monday, August 10th, 2026. We're speaking with Sam Juan, who served the United States Army. So good afternoon.
Hey there. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. We do appreciate it. So we'll just jump right in. Tough question right off the bat. When and where were you born?
Born and raised in Bahrain, little island off of Saudi Arabia's coast, October 19th, 1984, and spent basically my childhood there up until about age 13 or 14 before I moved to California.
Okay. And talk to me about your childhood there. What was that like?
Yeah, it's very unique upbringing. I grew up on a compound where my father, he worked for this company called Special Projects and specifically for the Prime Minister of Bahrain. And everyone that worked on this project lived within the compound. So almost like living on base, but for their government. And let's see, we had, a park in there that, the kids were very communal. We would have monthly celebrations. So we'll do almost like a monthly potluck, but grander scale, maybe a couple hundred people would show up. And we do dances, we do races, three-legged races. What's the one where you have your lower body in a rice sack?
Oh, a sack race. It's a sack race. Yeah,
Sack
I know
race.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's really, safe and communal is what I want to bring out of this whole part. And then the school. So I went to a British curriculum school, and a lot of expats from surrounding countries were classmates there, or a lot from the UK. So very diverse. So growing up there, that's pretty much how it was like, very safe. And I eventually, I had family here in California. Here, I'm in Virginia, but in California. So growing up, periodically, we'd go visit aunts and uncles that lived in the U.S. But I didn't move permanently until I was 14.
Okay. What about brothers and sisters?
So I'm adopted.
Okay.
My parents adopted me when they were about 50 years old, and I was about a month, less than a month old, so newborn.
Mm-hmm.
I have, as the youngest, I have a sister who's 15 years older than me, and then an older brother. My sister's name is Maya, and then my brother, Ted, he is 23 years older than me.
So you didn't really experience being the youngest. You were kind of like the only child.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
Okay.
right. Mm-hmm.
Well, and speaking about that, so tell me a little bit about your parents. What were they? What are they like?
Yeah. So my dad, let's just, my dad and mom are both 5 foot tall.
Uh-huh.
I'm about 5'6". And initially, they didn't tell me that I was adopted. And it wasn't until I was about 7 or 8 years old that I was starting to realize, hey, I have very curly, big hair and you have poker straight hair. I'm a lot tanner than you, all these little different nuances. But I think, looking back on it now, they decided to not tell me that I was adopted because they thought it was going to be the best way to make me feel included into the family.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was very charismatic, charming, very respectful, and well respected within where we worked in the compound. He was a chemical engineer, or had his degree in chemical engineering. My mom, for a long time, at least growing up, she was undiagnosed, paranoid schizophrenic. And
Okay.
so I would say a lot of the times upbringing was pretty tense.
Hmm.
Um, and I didn't understand why. I didn't know what paranoid schizophrenic meant or, what the symptoms were, but I always felt like s- there was something always wrong. Something like, something was always out to get her, or like we did something on purpose to hurt her, or um yeah, so consistently tense. Um
Yeah.
both parents I'd say were really good cooks, very good at cooking Filipino food, but um my dad was always gone, working, providing, being the breadwinner. My mom, she didn't have schooling past eighth grade. So she's a stay-at-home
Hmm.
mom, didn't drive, very traditional, like the man's a provider, the woman stays at home kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
and I think growing up with that mix, that very yin yang type of parents. Um, I was very drawn to my father because I felt like he was
Hmm.
safe and calm and just like always put together versus my mom's always very hostile and accusatory or, you know, just very mean. Uh,
Yeah. Not that she was doing that on purpose, but
mhm.
that's just how it was, right? And I'm sure that as we get into your story, that probably shaped how you deal with things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Um,
so you left Bahrain when you were 14.
mhm.
What was that like for you? I mean, I know that you said that you had come to the States and visited, but now you're leaving the safety of the compound, your friends,
Right.
of everything you know, and you're headed to California.
Yeah, so um, growing up in that British curriculum, after eighth grade, a lot of the students go to boarding school. They go back to England, they go back to do their thing there. So I think, my parents had this grander vision that eventually I would move to the United States to go to school, and they stayed in Bahrain. So I was now going to school in Torrance, California at Bishop Montgomery High School, and it was a private school. Um, and I learned very quickly that if you're the new girl, you're not invited into the cliques. You're not cool. Kids already have their group of friends. So even though I've had seen the United States before, now being, at this private school in like basically a mile from Redondo Beach, like a very fairly affluent area,
Mhm.
I felt really out of place. Really, really out of place. And with my parents still being in Bahrain, I stayed with my sister who, she ended up getting pregnant young, her senior year of high school. And so she was trying to be the breadwinner for her family. I think at the time she already had two kids, maybe three. So she was never home either. Her husband was a stay-at-home dad.
Okay. How was that? How was that must have been a little bit different for you based on how your family was like, wait a minute, this is kind of backwards.
Yeah.
How'd that impact you?
Um, so let's see. Um, Growing up in Bahrain, it's very, like I said, communal or community oriented, very safe and friendly. Now I'm in California on my own. Um, no supervision, pretty much. You know,
Hmm.
um, my sister's always gone. She's trying to make, money for the family, and the her husband, um, not to get too dark too fast, but he was abusing me. And
Okay.
so I did everything in my power to not be at home, whether I was hanging out with my older cousins, going to clubs underage, going to raves, like anything to not play sports, practices go to 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, anything to not be at home, but not having the power or courage to share that those things were happening. I
Hmm.
mean, they had been happening every time we go to the United States, you know, they would occur, but living with them was much more frequent.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's got to be did that make you feel like powerless in a way? I mean, to me, that's terrifying. Like, your family's not
Yeah.
there and that's going on, and you're kind of left to your own devices when you're not at home. I mean, clearly you survived that time, but that kind of trauma doesn't just go away.
Yeah. On one hand, I learned how to dissociate, which,
Mhm.
at the time I thought I was just floating. A lot of my memory is not there, or like I don't have a very good, I can't recollect a lot of the things from my younger years except for the trauma.
Right,
And your body adapts. It did what it needed to do or thought it needed to do to survive that period of my life. And honestly, it was the skill that I learned to then bring me through the military and to be able to operate at a high level with everything on fire and just chaos, because that's how I grew up. And I would keep my face still, like I was composed, but really just dissociated.
right,
Hmm.
right. It's interesting you say that because this is your interview, so I won't get too much into my childhood,
Yeah, please.
um, but some of those things are familiar to me. And I remember when you say dissociated, I remember like feeling like I was watching everything happen, like I wasn't, like I was watching these
Like,
things. Yeah, yeah. And it just hit me that that's exactly what was going on as we were
yeah.
talking. Um, so I mean, you made it through school, then I'm assuming, and you graduated. Were there things about school that you did enjoy? I mean, did you eventually make friends? Did you have favorite subjects? Did you play sports? Any of that kind of thing?
Sure. Um, I'm still friends with the girls I met on the first day.
Uh-huh.
Not maybe, one or two slightly closer than others, but still, we still talk. So yeah, I was able to make friends sooner rather than later, and we ended up getting into the rave scene, so the EDM culture of going to underground raves before it was really popular,
Mhm.
and that was our little escape. Um, when it came to school, though, I really loved art. I was really good at art and anything physical or fitness related. I gravitated to sports,
Mhm.
tennis, basketball, softball. I played all those. Ended up being captain of all three by my senior year. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I would say some of my um, greatest strengths is encouraging the team. I might
Mhm.
not be the most skilled. Definitely not the most skilled, but def I'm an energy to the team. Um, I'm grateful to recognize that now and not feel like I'm still being humble about it.
Yeah. I mean, on any team, right? It's surrounding yourself with the people who can do the things you can't,
Hmm.
right? And knowing the things you can't do
Yeah.
that you're not good at. Yeah, absolutely. Now, did you find that you were you able to share any of what was going on with your friends? Were they aware of your situation?
Yeah. To a degree.
Yeah.
There was one time that it happened, I think, towards the end of my sophomore year. Um, and excuse me, with the timeline might be a little blurry, but
Yeah.
towards the end of my sophomore year, my parents moved from Bahrain. My dad retired, ended up moving to California. Um, and uh, eventually my sister like caught him in the act.
Right.
And instead of like doing anything about it, it was just shoved under the rug. And I did share that with my friends, but it was more of fuel to go full into the rave scene, like really immerse
Mhm.
myself in the drug culture, alcohol, like anything. Like you want to talk about dissociated to the 10th degree. Um, yeah, so we didn't really ask, not that we didn't care, but it was like, okay, well, she's managing however she's managing, and everyone has their own trauma from home too, so let's support each other in this like ecosystem of fun and drugs and music.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, a lot of the drugs from the rave scene are not like the typical drugs that people would take. Like I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, right? So it's a little bit different then, but the rave drugs made you like feel
Feel good and
things.
feel connected. The
Yes.
ecstasy and yeah, very good for conversations, connected with strangers. I felt really safe, to lack
Hmm.
of better words, but like family, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
In that scene too, you were safe, right? Like the people that were there weren't going to, I mean, there's bad people everywhere, right? But by and large, the people that you are
They weren't
with, and
predatory or like
yeah,
weird.
yeah,
It was very
yeah.
like peace, love, and light.
Peace, love, and Bobby Sherman. That's what
That's
we used to
right.
say. Yeah. So you were kind of doing this through high school then.
Yeah.
Okay. And so was the military like in the back of your mind somewhere during this time or
Oh, I did not know what that was at all.
okay.
Yeah, to be honest, I was still an immigrant. You know, I did
Hmm.
not have my citizenship. And so when I joined, that was just a random phone call from a recruiter to my landline at home. And, you know, my dad hands the phone like, hey, it's Sergeant Kim. I'm like, what is that? Um,
Right.
and he shares like, hey, you know, what do you have planned for college or after high school? Like, what are you gonna do? And I didn't, what do you mean plans? I'm just trying to see you to the next day or like make it, you know, to the next day. Like I
Hmm.
hadn't applied to any big colleges or any of that kind of thing. Even though I did have the scores and the grades, my parents weren't really concerned about that. So I I went to the recruiting station, you know, went down to see what he had to say about travel and school and all of that. And yeah, he said I could go to Germany and see what that's about. And and mentally it was a done deal in my mind.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
sounded like a great way to kind of get out of that situation and figure things out.
Yeah.
So,
You go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, no, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, please.
Oh, so this is like in your senior years when they were contacting you, and then you like took your ASVAB, which I'm pretty sure you did well on.
I did okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just my close to the end of my senior year, which was 2002. I took my ASVAB and I have a 116 GT, which
Hmm.
I don't know what that means now. They change the testing and the scores all the time. But basically, he was like, "Oh, you can pick any job you want," and I'm like, "Okay, great." Um, and so when I went to MEPS, about maybe a month or so later, uh, they were like, "Oh, yes, great test scores, but you are not a citizen, so you can pick truck driver or cook." And
Wow.
cook. Yeah. So I signed up March 20th, 2003.
Uh-huh.
Um, the day I went through MEPS, I was in the delayed entry program, so I didn't ship out for another like 3 months, I think.
So how was that for you? This might seem like an odd question, right? But
Mhm.
um, once you're in the delayed entry program and you're getting ready to ship out, like there's some things you can't do, like drugs, and get in trouble. Not that it sounds like you ever got in trouble, but there was always that opportunity. Um, how did you like deal with that period of time where you're kind of waiting to go?
Yeah.
It's all set, but there's like this, I don't know, because I was in delayed entry for a while, and it's just like this dead time
Hmm. It's
where you
kind of like
can't
going to
make
spring.
plans.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So how was that for you?
Um, so I actually was enrolled at this community college called Orange Coast College there in California. I'd moved out of my parents' place, got shared a 1 bedroom apartment, or like I rented a room in somebody's house.
Hmm.
Um, and it was me and my girlfriend at the time. So if you know anything about 2003, it was don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
Um, and you know, my parents knew who she was. We were together for like 2 years. Um, anyway, so we got our own little room. And well, I was enrolled in community college. I only went to art class. I, because I knew I was going to leave. So I was like, I don't really like math and English, whatever. I'm going to
Yeah.
go to art class instead. but transparently, I didn't stop doing the drugs. I didn't.
Yeah.
Mm. I knew, most of that stuff was only in your system for 3 days, so you could plan around that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm always curious because some people they're like, oh my God, I got to quit. And some people are like, ah, I got this. I what I served in the Navy for a lot of years, and I remember guys. This is back in the '80s who were still doing drugs
Mhm.
while they were in the Navy, and they beat the system consistently. I know several of them are retired now, so yeah, I get it.
I mean, going to Germany for your first duty station, Amsterdam is not even 3 hours away. Let's just say, yeah, there was a lot of that. Um,
Yeah, I
mhm.
can only imagine. So talk to me about so where did you go to basic training at?
Fort Jackson, South Carolina, there for 9 weeks, and then Fort Lee, Virginia for food service specialist, AIT, advanced individual training,
Hmm.
another nine
So
weeks.
so when you got to basic training, um, how well were you prepared for how that was going to be? Um, talk kind of walk me through like getting there and what happens.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is what it's like in the Navy, but basic training is broken up into phases, right? So I didn't do any prep or I didn't do any research. I didn't talk to or I didn't really, not that I didn't care, but I just knew like I'm going to show up and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Hopefully
Hmm.
I'm in good enough physical shape or, they train us so I can keep up. Um, so those phases, right? Red, white, and blue. Within red phase, by the second or third week, you guys are, or we are, in platoons, right? And
Hmm.
somebody is guiding this platoon now. You have a platoon guide and you're marching, that person is marching them to and from chow and to the classroom and all of that. That was me. I I thrived with getting validated by my drill sergeants.
Hmm.
I, oh, you want me to stay, you know, at this position during drill and ceremony for a long time? Don't talk. It's easy. People, you could see people fidgeting or whispering to each other left and right, just like you can call me a nerd or whatever, but I knew like this was going to help me make me stand out more than
Hmm.
my peers. And within a week or so, two, I'm like standing in the front of formation. Now I'm calling cadence and I'm marching everybody. And typically those platoon guides are, they rotate them out, right? They give other soldiers a chance. I never got fired. I never got fired. And by the end of the cycle, the remaining platoon guides that are there, they go up against each other for this soldier of the month or soldier leader of the cycle competition.
Hmm.
And I was the only female and I beat them all. So that kind of mindset, like, oh, okay, I can do this. This is building my confidence. Um, Not that I actually like I could recite words or like I have good memorization skills.
Hmm.
And again, like the validation, the stuff that I did not feel at home, I felt like I got from my drill sergeant or like that environment. So it really mm, fueled me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, those are great accomplishments. But I gotta ask, I don't want to put like too fine a point on it, but it sounds to me like during this period, like getting you weren't getting validation from yourself. Like it all had to be from somebody else. Like you don't
Mhm.
know that you're good enough till someone else tells you that you're good enough.
Yeah, and I didn't know what that meant for, I mean, honestly, within just the last couple of years, I finally realized what that means and how I
Yeah.
love myself and really show up for myself. So what is a boundary? During those times, I didn't care about that. I just wanted to feel like somebody sees me, thank
Yeah.
you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and the military is good at that. Like, there's two ways to be seen in the military. One is you're doing a great job, and the other is you're not doing a great job. There's all those under the radar people in the middle,
Yeah.
but they're no fun. Um, yeah. So you wow, you really excelled at basic training. I mean, that's a, from the outside looking in, that's a huge success story. And then you go on to AIT, and how was that for you?
That was very, I mean, maybe not as, I think because it was mixed. We also like did training with Marines.
Yeah.
Um, and same kind of attitude, I still wanted to show up. I still showed up, fully present and, tried my best. Um, but there was more freedoms in AIT, and I really like, oh, not that we were going to raves, but like we were off base doing a lot of wild things.
Hmm.
Um, and I was making friends. Like that was more of a priority than, you know, being in the front of the formation.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. And then how long was AIT then? That was
9 weeks.
9 weeks. Okay. And then where do you go from there?
Then a quick trip back to home base,
Mhm.
Gardena. I signed up, where was I at? Somewhere in Orange County, California. I was there for a week, back at the recruiting station, a week or
Yeah.
two. And then first duty station is Mannheim, Germany. 28th Trans Battalion, Mannheim, Germany. I loved it there. I thought I was gonna European out and stay in Germany. Um, when I got there, it was definitely definitely different from California. Um, um,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've spent any time in Europe, but really, really cool place.
Yeah. Europe's so old. Like,
Mhm.
and they embrace the oldness of Europe. Like I feel like in America we tear old stuff down and build new stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But Europe really embraces their oldness. I kind of like it
The
as soon as I get
architecture,
home.
the history, just great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And just I mean, Germany, just the music and the people and I mean, we could probably talk for hours on that. But
Yeah.
so you got there and like, was it everything you thought it was going to be?
I growing up overseas, I'm a little more open, I think, to different cultures, the diversity.
Hmm.
Uh, on base, um, in the chow hall, we actually worked with German cooks because we served German soldiers as well. Um, so that part was kind of interesting. I was not expecting that. And then, going out into what was the phrase? Um, Not out in the town. There was a phrase when you go off base and like just enjoy. It'll hit me like 30 minutes later. But
Yeah.
I really liked like making German friends and like really getting the full authentic, not I'm not a tourist experience, Um within the first weekend I'm hopping on a train. I'm going to Wiesbaden from Mannheim. I fell asleep on the train, I remember that, and panicking because I had passed my stop and it was like midnight.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
not good.
No.
Um, but yeah, overall, I think just the culture and the experience, it was really awesome.
So do you think that your willingness to experience the culture made the people that you met, the Germans that you met, treat you differently than the folks that were just there trying to get some good pictures and, you know, a beer and a brat?
I really think so because like you really
Mhm.
get introduced to their culture, the food,
Right.
the just the nuances. I love that you can hop on a train and like in a couple hours you're in a different country. I got a lot of my tattoos in Belgium, which is
Mhm.
like unheard of, but like um yeah, it I think I really appreciate the fact that I did not wait to, like some people are like, I can't eat dinner on my own at a restaurant or I can't travel by myself. And oh man, if I waited for that, I wouldn't have seen half the stuff that I've, seen or experienced half the stuff. And so just having that, courage or tenacity to just hop on a train and figure it out on the go, it's really been beneficial for me.
Yeah, there's something, I don't know, comforting sometimes about that aloneness. Like,
Mhm.
I don't mind going into a restaurant and saying, "Oh, table for one."
Yep.
They look at you like it's sad and pathetic, but it really isn't. Like, this is nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's quiet. There's freedom to go and come and go as you please. I've
Mhm.
had amazing conversations with people that are like sitting next to me at the bar or at a restaurant. Um, Yeah, there's some cool stories just from, being able to travel on my own, having the confidence to travel on my
Right.
own.
Yeah. And to be able to talk to, like, even though
Mhm.
you're alone, you can talk to people.
Yeah.
Now, how long were you in Germany?
Almost 4 years, about 4 years.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. When you look back on that experience, like, what's like the thing that pops into your mind for like the very first like memory or the thing that you really
Hmm.
remember as being terrific or whatever, that just whatever like sticks in your mind about Germany?
Um, so I didn't stop raving.
Hmm.
I I liked going to dance clubs. I would go to
Uh-huh.
dance clubs on my own, and I love dancing. That was my, not that I did not do drugs, but that was kind of my outlet there. Um, to have the freedom to pick up and go to a music festival or go to a dance club, um, and just, dance my troubles away.
Now you're more of a like a techno dance
Mhm.
type person. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I was
Or
just
hip hop.
curious because there's some really crazy. I listen to a lot of like German rap music
Oh yeah, you do.
when I work out. Yeah, so I'm like, oh, this is great. Like I don't understand half of what they're saying, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Um, I'm not that familiar with German rap, but definitely hip hop and stuff like that.
Hmm. So you just kind of parted your way through Germany. How is that like? So how are the raves different from here in the States, or are they not different?
I would say they're grander, they're
Uh-huh.
bigger. I mean, somebody might argue with the my historical, knowledge of EDM music, but I think it originated from Europe. And I remember going to like Berlin or Munich downtown, like, and seeing DJ Tiesto like in the middle of this huge, like 300-year-old sculpture, that's been there forever, and just like the speakers on each side, and like tens of thousands of people, like in the cityscape or whatever, I can't remember the phrase now, but
Yeah.
downtown. It's just, yeah, it was freaking awesome.
It sounds like it. It definitely sounds like it. Now, the other thing you said you got your tattoos in Belgium.
Yeah.
That just isn't like
Yep.
that. Doesn't like that's not anything I've ever heard of.
Um,
Like you don't think of Belgium as like the tattoo capital of the world or anything.
right. No, no, no. No, I'm so glad I found him too. Daniel Damasha, Calypso
Hmm.
Tattoo. So I eventually started wanting to get, I had one tattoo and I wanted to get more, and I wanted to get them to kind of honor my parents, my family, like bringing me in.
Hmm.
And after some search on Google, I discovered that Filipinos also have their own tribal markings. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was just like Hawaiian or Samoan. But a lot of the Pacific Islands, are the islands that are in the Pacific Ocean,
Hmm.
have their own unique like layout, patterns, motifs, meanings. And I found this website called Tatak Patnaalon, which means Mark of the Four Waves. And the founder, El Festin, he's been studying tattoo markings, Filipino tattoo markings, and other cultures for the last 15, 20 years at that point.
Hmm.
And I read over it and I was like, well, I don't really know. Like my parents didn't teach me any of this stuff. But there was a questionnaire, a form that if I take this to my parents and be like, hey, like, can we talk about this and let me know where our ancestors are from and what we used to do and all of that good stuff. I sent him the answers, and then I
Hmm.
told him I wanted two quarter sleeves, so just the outside, the shoulder cap, and then to the elbow. At the time on both sides. He's like, yeah, I will design the sleeve for you, quarter sleeve for you, and then you got to find someone to do it, right?
Hmm.
And so that's when I found a black work artist was his specialty. So a lot of like mandalas and um, solid lines, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's where I got the majority of this side. And I left Germany by the time I got this side, but yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
Before we continue, we'd like to share a resource that may be helpful to veterans and their families. The Battle Buddy app from vetlifetoday.org is designed to connect veterans with support, resources, and a community that understands their experiences. If you or a veteran you know could benefit from those resources, we encourage you to download the Battle Buddy app and learn more at vetlifetoday.org. Well, and so that's like my kids all have tattoos, and the one thing that I've told them is do not get drunk and pick something off the wall, like, right? So all their tattoos have meanings, and
Yeah,
clearly your tattoos have a really deep meaning for you.
yeah. Well,
You
I
didn't pick
appreciate
those off
that.
the wall.
No, there's no number seven. I didn't
Yes.
do that. That's really good advice. I just, um, I've seen those. I don't know if they call them passports, but like you'll just get random stuff all over and just kind of do a collage of randomness. I mean,
Right.
to each their own, but mine definitely mean something very special to me.
Well, the challenge with a tattoo, you said it, like you get one, and then
Hmm.
you're like, oh, well, I need another one, and I need
Yeah, it's either
another one.
one and done or one and you never stop.
Yeah, like I've got one, and I'd really like to get more. There's some discussion that has to happen before that goes on, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, because they do like, I don't know, I feel like you can like paint your life on your body.
No,
That makes
absolutely. So I continued on, I got my sleeves done, but I have my entire
Mhm.
back done,
Oh.
chest, uh, what's the sternum, and then
Mhm.
I started my leg. Um, in traditional Filipino culture, you have the bodysuit, right? And women get until above the knee on the outside. So
Mhm.
that's, yeah.
So it's not uncommon for Filipino women then to have tattoos.
So after the Spanish colonization, they conquered the Philippines for over 300 years. These tattoos are typically like, oh, you're a savage, you're uncivilized,
Right.
um, you're out in the jungle, like on the rice fields, whatever. Um, so they weren't, and that's why a lot of Filipinos don't know that Filipinos have them because they're, I don't say shunned, but they're not well known.
Yeah.
Um, and so when I found El, his whole mission was to kind of revive the knowledge and awareness of Filipino tattoos and Filipino tattoo culture.
Hmm.
So it's not a very common thing. No.
Oh, okay. All
Mm.
right. Yeah, because so my daughter has a tattoo. She's like almost sleeved out on
Oh,
both
cool.
sides. She's a school teacher,
Hmm.
and she was going to interview for a job,
Hmm.
and she said, "I think I should wear like something to
Oh,
cover up my tattoos." And I said, "No, here's the deal. Go in there with your tattoo showing, wear what you're comfortable wearing. If they don't want you because of that, that is not where you belong,
a hundred
right? Because
percent.
they're going to see them at some point, right? And you're proud of them. If they don't like it, you don't belong there."
Yeah, I love that advice. I love that advice.
And she's super happy. She got the job and she's doing really well. Anyway,
Yeah, that's great.
so you leave Germany. What year would this have been?
I left Germany in 2007.
2007. Okay. And what happens next?
So I actually get out of the army.
Hmm.
I was married at the time, and my husband was stationed in Hawaii, and I go to be with him as a dependent now.
Hmm.
And I I was not being a faithful wife, and that gets revealed. Um, and instead of Joe is such a kind, very, very kind man. Very calm in the whole, for the most part, breakup phase of this marriage.
Uh-huh.
But I was now living back with my parents in California, um, trying to figure out what I wanted to do or what the next steps were. Yeah. So, as you can imagine, or maybe, I did not want to be a cook. So the skills that I had learned as a cook in the military is not something I wanted to continue moving forward.
Hmm.
Um, I ended up trying to go to hair school, Paul Mitchell Hair School, and I asked them if they took the GI Bill, and for whatever reason, they did not. And yep, exactly.
Wow.
Uh-huh. I was like, hey, this tuition can be fully paid for. Like, oh no, we don't do that. I'm like, oh, okay. Um, and maybe it was just the wrong person to ask, or like a new intern. I don't know. But that I didn't exactly pursue it after that. I was like, okay, well, I need to make money now. Um, my parents had been supporting my sister and her four kids, um, forever. Like, the house, the cars, like they always were there for her financially. But I I worked in high school. I bought my own first car. When I moved back in, even in this situation, I'm now paying rent and paying for groceries, like, and I'm the baby, like I'm the youngest. Um,
Right.
so I didn't have time to figure it out really. I was like, well, you know, whether that's an excuse or not, I ended up auditioning to dance and I was hired right away.
Hmm.
Not that I don't think they'd turn anyone away, but yeah, I fell in love with the fast life. Again, back to drugs, back to, high risk behavior. Um, and there was nobody telling me no. And there was nobody in my house saying, like, hey, are you okay?
Hmm.
Hey, like, want to talk about it? None of that. They just saw that I bought a, used but new car, like this sports two doors, two-seater sports car. And I look like
Hmm.
I'm living this like lavish life, whatever. Yes, I come back home, but um, I look like I had my shit together, which I did not. Um, but I somehow woke up fairly soon, maybe within 5 or 6 months of that doing that life. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do, but it's not this. It's not how I see myself long term. Like, yeah. And so I didn't know how to hold myself up or keep myself accountable, but I knew something that did know how to keep me accountable.
Hmm.
And I joined the army again.
Okay. And they welcomed you back,
They
right?
sure did with open arms.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bet. I'll bet. So this is like what, 2010?
8. No.
2008. Oh, so it's very, very soon then. Like everything kind of
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
So you joined again. You didn't have to go back to basic.
No basic, just for like NCO because I was at E5 at the time. So NCOs that are like retraining or classifying.
Yeah.
Um, so I went straight to AIT. And
Hmm.
because now I was a citizen and I had the test scores, I was offered signals intelligence analyst at NSA Hawaii because technically I was still married.
Right.
He hadn't finished getting divorced yet, so I'm gonna go be with my husband, right? So he's in Hawaii. So that's where I got orders to go after AIT.
Now, did you see him when you were there?
Yeah, yeah, he picked me up. He was the one
Oh,
that picked me up. I'm
okay.
telling you, like he's so kind and just very understanding. And I
Yeah.
mean, for years after we divorced, we were still friends, and we were actually in Afghanistan at the same time, not at the same place, but checking in on each other.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's good to have a friend like that.
Yeah, yeah, he's very, very sweet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you got to Hawaii and how was that?
Yeah,
What happened there?
so in AIT, um, I guess I don't know how to operate unless everything's at 100 miles an hour. And so I was doing well in AIT, some of the top, like at least physical scores, test scores, people were blowing me out of the water because that's 6 months in Goodfellow Air Force Base. It's a hard school.
Hmm.
And I ended up getting pregnant. I ended up getting pregnant with my first child. So I show up to my unit in Hawaii pregnant. Um, Obviously it's not Joe's, but on paper I'm married.
Right.
Um, and by the grace of UCMJ, I did not get any reprimand, or nobody brought it up. And so we ended up, he's in his own quarters, I'm in my own barracks, whatever. We're officially separating at this point. So the people signing us in or in processing me understand the deal.
Right.
Like, we're not together, we're just on paper. And yeah, I mean, as soon as I got there, I mean, I had the tribal tattoos. I kind of look, people were speaking to me in how, like, or pidgin. And I assimilate is not a good word, but like, just like I was in Germany, I fit right in. Like, people
Right.
thought I was Turkish. I almost preferred that, because like, I don't feel like an outsider. I feel like welcomed.
Yeah.
And so same with Hawaii, if not even more so.
Hmm.
And I ended up having Jasmine, April of 2009. And yeah, I raised her by myself, more or less, because her father was stationed in Korea. So
Yeah.
the first year and a half, and we didn't work out, for a bunch of reasons. But he ended up, after Korea, getting stationed in Hawaii, so we were co-parenting, still very amicable, whatever.
Hmm.
And yeah, I quickly learned that I did not like to be in the skiff. I did not like to be underground in the tunnels doing military intelligence work. It was it looks cool in the movies, and I'm sure there are really, really cool missions at NSA Hawaii, but I was with the counterterrorism cell, and it was very slow. And I don't like slow. I'm not used to slow.
Hmm.
So I did everything I could to be out of the skiff, whether I'm the training NCO, I'm now the platoon sergeant, I'm out of the skiff. Officially, my additional duties are to train our unit twice a day. I'm doing the PT in the morning, leading the PT in the morning. And then for those that are struggling a little bit with their weight or PT scores in the evening or afternoon, I'm leading the PT there. And so that's really great if unexpectedly see a poster in the middle of the skiff or in the hallway that talk about this very mysterious program. Um, and, having the time to train that much was very beneficial to me when I
Hmm.
saw that poster, to go through selection for the cultural support team program.
Okay. I want
Mhm.
to ask a quick question. Um, do you find that, like, throughout your life, when things were quiet, like, you needed the chaos to function? Like, even though chaos is totally crazy, like, I can't function unless it's
Mhm.
chaotic. So you would
No,
create your own chaos.
that's the preferred. That isn't the norm, right?
Yeah.
It's the standard from growing up in that crazy house is crazy. Like,
Right.
I don't know anything else. And as soon as it gets more calm or peaceful, or sometimes I would label boring, um, my subconscious is like, oh, I don't know this. I don't like it here. I
Right.
need to do something to go back to the madness, the self-sabotaging behavior, the high-risk behavior. Like, that's what I know.
Yeah. Because
Hmm.
it feels weird to be
Hmm.
what everyone else would call normal.
Hmm.
I would argue though that everyone's normal is normal. Like, that's just your normal. That's how
Yeah.
it is. It's what you do with it that matters,
Hmm.
right? So you get accepted into this program. Like, are you like one of the first women that are brought into this program? So you're kind of a pioneer in that respect.
I would say I'm part of the first woman to ever go through the selection process, to apply, get accepted, go through the selection process at SFAS, or Special Forces Assessment and Selection,
Hmm.
for this program, which, if you're unfamiliar, if you're listening, it's the military decided to assign women to special operations units, tier 1, tier 2 units, to go outside of the wire with them, to manage the women and kids out on target or in the compounds, in the villages. And it initially was, I'll say sold to us, but like presented as like, hearts and minds, or like shaking hands, kissing babies.
Right.
And uh, I mean, even if you were doing the day operations or the relationship management, I selected or was chosen to do the night operations or night raids, and there was not much kissing babies and shaking hands.
Yeah. More
Mhm.
like shaking babies and kissing hands.
I laugh, but
Right.
that is true.
Yeah. What was selection like for you?
Um,
I mean, they weren't used to having women in this, right?
no.
Yeah.
We only had one trainer that was a female PSYOP sergeant.
Hmm.
Um, all the rest were like Rangers or SF guys or SF dudes. And you know, especially being with the first cohort to go through a selection like this, I think they were also still trying to figure it out. Like, how do we
Yeah.
assess women to determine if they're not just physically capable, but like mentally resilient to hang and do these things that we're going to ask of them. And so the beginning stages, the first few days were more the physical challenges that were tested and timed. The 9 mile ruck march, PT tests, height, weight, the regular stuff. Um, and then as the days went on, it was more randomized testing.
And how long were you in selection?
So selection, the first week of it, they did it in multi-phases. The
Okay.
first week is 5 or 6 days. And that's a lot of the more physical stuff, psych evals, randomized testing. Um, I say like at the on the first day, excuse me, day zero, there might have been 170, maybe 200 of us.
Hmm.
And then by day 5, day 6, graduation, um, there were 35, 40 that made it. And that would then split to day ops and night ops.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm not really sure the exact reason why, but 4 of us of the 35 were asked to return back for this following cycle to not go straight into phase 2 of the training. And so the girls that made it through the initial cohort went straight into pre-deployment training to then get ready to go to Afghanistan. What me and 3 other graduates, they were asked to come back to like when they're starting to come back, we're now gonna high five them and our turn. Um, which I initially was like, oh, why did I make it? Why am I not going through?
Uh-huh.
But looking back on it now, it's like, okay, well, they had a whole year-ish, 9 months to figure out some learnings, like what do we really need to implement? What kind of training do they really need? And not saying they
Hmm.
figured it all out by cohort 2, but yeah, I was grateful to be held back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's always nice to get lessons from people who
Hmm.
lived it, right?
Yeah.
And so during this time, so where was selection at then?
It's at Fort Bragg. So the
Okay.
same where special forces go to go get their tab, same grounds. We
Okay.
even did a field exercise with the guys that were going through to yeah, whatever phase of their training it was. I'm sure
Hmm.
their selection is a lot longer than ours, but yeah, it was a mixed some of us were carrying the 50 cals like or M240 or whatever it's called. Um
Uh-huh.
Trying to figure out fire lanes and doing tactics and all of that with the guys. Everyone was so sleep deprived. I could barely remember by then. Uh,
Yeah.
just madness, chaos.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Which was where you belonged.
Yeah, right at home.
Yeah.
Right at
Now, how
home.
long were you at Bragg then total? Like,
Oh, yeah, with the pre-deployment training,
yeah.
we got like 6 weeks of that, and then maybe like a week. We came back again, maybe like a week right before. Like, that's when we get our gear and
Hmm.
all the paperwork ready or cleared to leave to go in country.
Okay. Now, is Jasmine staying with your parents this time, or is she with her dad, or how's that
No, she's
working?
with her dad. Yeah. We
Okay.
even though through the breakup we 50-50 custody,
Yeah.
all of that good stuff, which, transparently, like, I'm just very grateful that um, he stepped up. He was a very good, dad to take responsibility. So after we broke up, he was the primary uh, parent.
Uh-huh.
And it took me, like I said, that whole boundary thing, learning about myself and how to love myself. That was a long, tumultuous journey that I recently finally can say I'm very comfortable with who I am now and
Mm-hmm.
what that means. And now my daughter lives with me.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Yeah, it's for some people it's a lifelong journey, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Are we ever really there? I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist, but
yeah.
yeah, I'm just a guy that interviews people.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so you do all your train up. I'm just curious. So Fort Bragg, there used to be a place called the Mug right outside of base. I don't know if
Okay.
that's still there or not, but
Well, when I was going, like, it was pretty, not say strict, but I wasn't going, for once, I was not going out and partying.
there were no raves in Fort Bragg, right?
No, not that I knew of. I probably would have heard. But yeah, it was pretty focused then. And even like Raleigh is about an hour away, but I wasn't familiar with the Mug. I'm
Yeah,
probably still there.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have a younger brother who was a musician, and
Oh,
when I lived in Virginia, we drove to Fort Bragg to see him play at this bar. Anyway,
oh, cool.
different story for a different time, but
Sure, sure.
yeah. So you get all your train up done, and then you head to Afghanistan. Is that
Hmm.
all right? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So towards the end of training, the candidates get to make a wish list of who they want to be assigned to.
Hmm.
And even without doing much research, everyone knows of SEAL Team 6. So I put that as like top, like I really would like to be assigned to them. They get the best missions, most prestige, most toys, all of that. Um, and I had a top secret clearance because I was an intel. And so I
Hmm.
think that plus my physical capability, and I was a very much a quiet professional, um, that I got what I asked, what was on my wish list. And so I'm in Afghanistan, February 2012, Fob Shank, Logar province with Red Squadron of SEAL Team 6.
Wow,
Mhm.
not many people I have interviewed. I've interviewed 170 people. Not many of them say they got what was on their wish list.
But I mean, is that a wish list for many people too? I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. You may
Um,
just be picking right. So, what was that deployment like for you?
um, you know, like we've talked about here, like operating under craziness is normal. And so I get there, I get to the skiff, and it's very high vis role at the moment. Like this is a very new program. Like, can the girls really do this? Like, did we make a mistake? Like, make sure all eyes on them at all times, all of that stuff. And so keeping my face composed, even though inside I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing here? Why did I sign up for this? But also, like, it's kind of cool. Like, I get to do cool shit, but also I don't know what I'm doing. And these men have been training. They are freaking flawless, like
Mhm.
clearing rooms, like, and you expect me, I have 5 minutes of training compared to them. And now I'm under a microscope of like, don't fuck this up.
Right.
Um, a lot that's going on at the same time. So it's hard to really, you know, what are my biggest takeaways? Like I'm very proud of my time there. Um, adopted orphan girl, immigrant girl from Bahrain is now on the front lines with literally Red Squadron. Some of the same guys who were on the Bin Laden raid, like which I didn't know until later. But
Yeah.
like what the fuck? Like, it's very you can't really make that up. Uh yeah, but everything's not rainbows and butterflies. There's some shady shit that we did and
Hmm.
moral injury and all of that stuff. So it's hard for me to, overall, I'm very proud of my time
Yeah,
overseas. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think we can all say we did things that maybe we didn't agree with, but stuff had to get done.
Mhm.
So now you earned your Bronze Star on that deployment then? Okay. That's not nothing.
It I don't keep up with that, but somebody had met one of the not team guys, but when I came back, I was talking to one of my vet friends, and he was like, "How many women have a Bronze Star?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've never Googled it." He's like, "Let me Google this right now," and it wasn't very many.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And it was earned. There are some Bronze Stars that weren't earned. We can all say that, but that,
yeah.
that seems like it was earned to me. And are you still kind of in this part of your life where you're like wanting that outside like validation still?
It took me even after getting out of the army and after active duty, it took
Hmm.
me a long time. I was for a while.
Yeah.
It was just same motives, different uniform.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so did you deploy again after Afghanistan or did you?
No, I decided to get out. It was in Afghanistan. Then I returned back to art. I started painting and drawing in my tent,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "Oh, I think I'm done with the army. I don't know what would top this. This is a highlight of my career kind of thing." And uh, yeah, I'm going to go to art school. And so within 6 months of coming back from Afghanistan, I'm in an art class at Old Dominion University. Um, Trying to fulfill what I thought or think is my purpose and passion. And I
Mhm.
went full in, uh, blinders on, like only art is what I'm going to do. And so, as you can imagine, art school is not as intense as being in Afghanistan. And so I
Yep.
supplemented my need for adrenaline or chaos or my nervous system being at 100 with drugs and alcohol again.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Did that cause you problems?
Yeah, I was married at the time again, and I, I didn't tend to my marriage. I really had, I don't know, all my energy into um, doing my art, my coursework, and being in my studio 24/7.
Hmm.
Um, and, eventually things started to crack. The mask wasn't working. He started cheating on me, and I didn't know that, but also like, who wouldn't, like there's a woman upstairs somewhere doing something. I barely see her.
Right.
So, we were going to marriage counseling, and even the therapist who specifically deals with or treats Navy SEALs, because he was a Navy SEAL, um, was like, "You are the man in this relationship. Do you know that?" And I was like, "Oh." It's like, yeah, you don't know how to process your emotions or feelings, um, and I didn't. This one of the biggest things I took away from my mom. I think we mentioned it
Hmm.
very early in the interview.
Right.
Um, she it was her way or the highway always.
Hmm.
She didn't want to talk about what was bothering her. You couldn't bring it up. She would leave the room, come back, and don't like everything's fine. We act like everything's normal. And I, copy paste. I would do the exact same thing. Um, it's like very low emotional intelligence. I didn't know how to process anything. I had never been to therapy prior to this marriage counseling. I
Hmm.
hadn't dealt with any of the sexual abuse from a kid, nothing from Afghanistan. Like it was just stacking on and on and on and on.
Right.
Um, Eventually we broke up. Um, I I got accepted on paper. I was still like excelling. I got my degree. I got accepted into this year-long residency program for advertising for special operations veterans.
Hmm.
Um, I'm in Boston, New York, like at these advertising agencies, just like whatever. It looked nice. Um, but my marriage was failing, and I had a newborn son. Um, and I didn't know who I was or how to process. And I went, back to the drugs and alcohol.
Right,
Hmm.
right. And so what year is this about when your son was born?
He's born in 2015.
Okay, 2015. So your your daughter would be what? She's 17 now? Yeah.
Hmm.
And so your son's like 11?
Hmm.
Yeah, good
Bit of
ages.
math.
Good ages.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not smart, but I do know math once in a while.
That's
So,
quick.
yeah, 2015 is just kind of rolling around. And again, like, I think for so many veterans, everything does look good
Hmm.
on paper, but inside, you're just like, blah, right? You're like, no one sees it either. They're like, I used to work for someone we worked in emergency response. And one day all hell was breaking loose, and she pulled me into the office and she said, I need you to like respond. And I'm like, I'm doing it all up here. I said, I'm not going to run around with my hair on fire. If that's what you're looking for, I'm not doing that, but I'll get this fixed for you. Don't worry. But inside, you're just like, everything's going. But outside, you're just, cool as a cucumber, I guess,
Yeah.
to use an old phrase. So I think that it's that way for some veterans or for a lot of people who have been through some things. That's how you
Yeah.
deal with it, right?
The phrasing that you used, I remember my son's father. Uh he I finally like did an outburst or said something. And he's like, "Oh, finally a reaction, like something." I don't know, thought keeping it cool and just was
Yeah,
how I was supposed to manage, deal with it, suppress, 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 numb, disconnect.
right.
That was how I knew how to deal with it, and eventually it just exploded. Like I
Mhm.
finally decided to ask for help and shared, more publicly, outside of my friend circle, like, hey, I've been abused, I don't know what to do. I've never talked to anyone about this on a, professional scale or setting. And then eventually a veteran reached out and she was like, hey, we weren't very close, but we were part of one of the Pat Tillman Foundation,
Mhm.
with Pat Tillman scholars, and she connected me with one of her friends, and he brought me to my first psychedelic therapy or psychedelic experience, and that's when I started doing psychedelic medicine for healing.
Uh-huh. And how is that working for you? You
Oh
feel like
yeah,
that's helped?
that is, before going to my first peyote ceremony in 20 April 2020, I had tried the traditional talk therapy, VA, all the meds known to man, and I wasn't getting anywhere.
Hmm.
I could go to my weekly appointment and just say whatever's on the surface, not really feel any of it. And if anything, most of the time it triggered me to go to the bar after. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
coping. Um,
Yeah.
I wasn't taught any of the integration tools and so for me, the psychedelic therapy, um, I showed up almost with, I would say, blind faith. I didn't do much research again. Maybe of the mindset like I have nothing to lose. Like here, what I've done every other drug. What,
Right. How bad could this be?
how bad could it be? Just in the middle of a desert with a roadman and strangers, and just pouring out every deep trauma that I know. But I it changed my life.
Hmm.
I don't know exactly what changed that in that moment, but I knew something changed. I felt a lot lighter, more connected to myself. So I knew I had to keep coming back. And so I committed. I mean, at the time I was living in Dallas and I'd fly to California, every 3 or 4 months to go to a ceremony. Um, but when I come back, a lot of my friends were drug addicts or not, part of that kind of lifestyle. And so I'd be clean for a little bit and then relapse and I'd go back into it. Um, but every time I'd go back to ceremony and come back, I felt like I healed a little bit more,
Hmm.
got a little bit further along. And then I found, psychedelic therapy specifically for veterans. And so that was in a more, not to say clinical setting, but it was supervised by a doctor, Dr. Martin Polanco, and you're journeying with other special operations veterans or veterans in general. And this time it's psilocybin or magic mushrooms and
Yeah.
5-MeO. And yeah, same thing, you know, I do it. I'd go travel to Mexico or Austin or wherever, and I'd be good for a little bit, but I wasn't making the long-term changes I needed after ceremony, the integration, and I would relapse. Um, and eventually, I ended up in a relationship that's really toxic. We enabled each other. Our drug habits just exasperated and overshadowed any kind of responsibility. Like, oh, I quit my job. I don't want to do this advertising thing anymore. I'll try this social media thing. Like, and not taking it seriously because the lifestyle was more important than the output.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, eventually got into opiates. And so I was doing cocaine and Percocets every day. And, you know, no job, now going through a breakup, crashing at my friend's place until I figured my life out. And calling back to Dr. Martin Polanco and, you know, like, hey, like, I think I'm ready for Ibogaine, which is one of the strongest, if not the strongest psychedelic out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's known or being researched for opiate addiction, alcoholism, and stuff like that. And this is a Tuesday morning, and he goes, "Can you be in Mexico by Friday?" And I, you know, I didn't have the funds or means, and so I was like, okay, well, shit. Let me try and make some more phone calls and see what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to get funding from Sabo Foundation to send me to Mexico to get the Ibogaine treatment. And I haven't touched an opiate since. That's when I really decided to get my shit together, and I moved to Baltimore
Mm-hmm.
for a new job that I got. And yeah, it's been just up and up, some ebbs and flows, but you know, for the most part, just an incredible journey since that treatment.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
how long have you been sober? How long ago was that treatment?
July 2023.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it worked.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, do you do microdosing or anything like that?
I have, yeah. Since then, I've microdosed shrooms. I initially microdosed shrooms in the beginning to get off of SSRIs,
Uh-huh.
and that worked really well for me. And then last year, I started kind of getting cravings a little bit,
Mhm.
um, and so I microdosed Ibogaine. Hmm.
That seemed to
Hmm.
help. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone has a path, and
Mhm.
I know personally veterans who are very close to me who um, drink a lot of alcohol, and they tried the whole VA.
Oh,
Here's your bag of M&Ms. Go home and don't jump off a building,
yeah.
till you come back. And none of it worked. But they use cannabis, and cannabis
Okay. Yeah.
fixed it. Like there's not a one size fits all, right? SSRIs aren't the fix all for everyone. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving
Right.
advice here, but there are different steps that different people can take to get the result that they're looking for. In any of it, you got to want it, right? You
Hmm.
can't, I mean, you could do all the treatments you're doing, but if you don't want to stop drinking
Yeah.
alcohol, you're just not. Like, this is just another thing I'm going to do.
Hmm.
But it sounds like you had some reasons why you wanted to stop going down that path.
Yeah. You know, you nailed it right on the head. Like people, your family could beg you to go, but if you don't want to stop, you're not going to.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think I was tired of letting myself down, you know.
Mhm.
I used to be super disciplined, and I know how to take care of my body and, you know, all of these things. Just the reasons why I was doing that, to go into the army, to go through selections, it never really at its core was for me. It was for me to prove myself to somebody to accept me. Uh,
Right.
and it took me going through this like emotional intelligence 4.5 month program for me to really understand, at least dig past the surface of what that means, who I am, um, how I need to be loved and show up for myself. And I think the combination of the treatment, the psychedelic treatment, and that program is really why I've been able to maintain my sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your kids are with you now?
Yeah. Well, my daughter's with me.
Uh-huh.
My ex-husband, we're not on good speaking terms.
Yeah.
He and his new wife, which is who he was cheating on me with, um, yeah, uh, they don't really see a need for me in the picture.
Yeah.
And
That's
mhm. Have even though on paper it says like we have I have visitation and monthly arrangements and all the good stuff, and it was happening for a long time. Um, it stopped happening May 29th, 2022,
mm-hmm.
when I shared with my son that I was married to Robert, to his dad, and it didn't fit the narrative. Like, yeah, this like controlled narrative of who I am in this picture. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, yeah, that was the last time I've seen him. Um, when I moved to, they've been in Maryland the whole time. I was in Dallas traveling to see him, as much as I
Yeah.
could. When I moved to Baltimore, I'm like, hey, Maryland is, I'm literally 45 minutes from you. Can we like, try this again? Can we be not even a year later, And Robert was like, yeah, we're ready now. I think it's time for you to come back and we hash this out and all this good stuff and smoke and mirrors every time I bring it up for real. Okay, like what time do you want me to drop by or make a phone call? He wouldn't answer for months or weeks. And after speaking to some lawyers, finally I'm like, okay, like I've been naive enough to believe the bullshit for long enough. I need some real legal advice. I've been advised not to stop by there. It could be traumatic for Sterling. It would also not look, not be in my favor. Like if, in front of the judge,
Mm-hmm.
irrational, whatever with my emotions. And so I was exploring talking to a lawyer within the last year, and then Jasmine moving in with me was an unexpected but great. I'm grateful for this blessing, but I wasn't expecting it, and so I'm trying to get her settled in the priority for now, and financially figure out where we're at before
Yeah.
I can explore getting a lawyer again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's, we've all had things happen, but that's pretty rough right there. But you seem to be calm about it. Are you calm about it though? Really?
The longer I talk about it or like think about it, the more frustrating it is because I cannot make sense of it.
Right.
Like no angle or what ifs could make me understand why like pushing me out completely like this makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm adopted, Sterling's father's adopted, that my ex-husband, like, so why would you not want him to know his birth parents? And yeah, I was going through some, crap and I figured it out. But nothing that I would claim, like, I've never put him in danger or like I would never risk, um, not showing up for him. And so yeah, it's
Yeah.
frustrating, but everything happens for a reason.
True.
Hmm.
So what are you doing now? Like where are we at
Yeah.
now? Are you working in the art field? What's going on with you now?
Where am I at? Yes, I'm an artist, creator, storyteller, writer, advocate for psychedelic therapy veterans.
Mhm.
So a lot of my work is like at the art studio, I do paintings. I have a couple art shows coming up. Um, I'm writing. I'm in the process of writing my memoir, which it's written. I have an agent. It's being submitted to publishing houses. Hopefully an editor sees this and I can like, we can do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can be published.
Yeah, it can be published. Um, and advocating for psychedelic therapy.
Uh-huh.
Did some time with the Mission Within, Capitol Hill, sharing my story. I think has been my biggest form of service so far. Um, being very vulnerable and candid about these things that we're talking about today has been um, a healing for me, but also healing for others.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we do what we do, right? Because people listen to these stories. Like for me, it's always great to tell my story because I feel like a little bit less burdened every time I tell my story. But every time I tell my story, someone comes up and says, "Hey, I thought I was the only person that went through that." And I'm sure that you've experienced that. And that to me, that's the kind of external recognition that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like I helped you and you're telling me that I helped you. That's different than just being recognized for other things.
It takes a lot of courage for someone to do that, you know? They're
Hmm.
being very vulnerable with a stranger.
Right. No,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah. And 170 people so far have done that. And I
Yeah.
appreciate every single one of them. Every story has been incredible. Um, and so the work that you're doing right now, I know we keep talking about recognition, but you've also been recognized by the DAV. Is that part of what you're working with the psychedelics
Mhm.
therapy and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so DAV and I connected sometime early last year, and
Hmm.
as one of the oldest nonprofits for veterans around, the fact that they wanted to talk to me about my Ibogaine journey, I was one of the first, or the first person they ever interviewed to share um, my experience with them, and it kind of snowballed into something within their organization where members, within their leadership, with it, they're going through their own healing journey with psychedelics. And now
Yeah,
they're advocating for it, and now they're putting budget behind it, and just the ripple effect of how it's paying forward, not only internally within this great organization, but who they're going to touch or educate or advocate for within this realm. It's very exciting to see someone of
yeah,
that, an organization of that stature believe in it.
yeah. I can believe it. So we talked about a lot over the last. Has it been a couple hours almost?
Yeah.
Almost a couple hours. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you did want to talk about?
Hmm. Um, I mean, well, I think we covered a lot of the, biggest milestones in my life experience so far. So I feel pretty good about what we
Okay.
shared.
All right. Well, I'll ask you one final question then, and that is, uh, if someone's listening to this story 100 years from now, when neither one of us are here, what would you like them to take away from it?
Hmm. The strength is in the return. Finding yourself, finding your way back to yourself is one of the biggest gifts you can give, not only for yourself, but to your family and to your community. Um, Knowing who you are, what it means to love yourself, how you want to show up is no one can take that away from you. And showing up that authentically is a gift that mm, pays it forward tenfold, 100-fold.
All right. Well, thanks again for sharing that with us. Thanks for sitting here and talking with me, answering all my questions. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Veterans Archives podcast and for helping us honor the service and sacrifice of our nation's veterans. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with others so more people can hear these important stories. To learn more about our mission, watch additional veteran interviews, or find out how to record a veteran story, please visit veteransarchives.org. And if you or a veteran you know needs support or resources, we encourage you to download the Battle Buddy app from vetlifetoday.org. You can also hear Veterans Archives on Reads Across America Radio every Thursday at 5 p.m.